that your final answer? Is that your final answer? Is that your final answer?
To close along with card rooms.
Jen, here on the Morning
Whitman.
Answer, we hear the information, right? Those are the facts.
Yes.
And now a moment of perspective on the facts, right? That's okay here, right?
Absolutely.
How'd that feel to you? What'd you hear in that? Should I go first since I brought it up?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. What I heard there was that everything
Age
is...
before beauty.
I want to recount. Hand ballots, hand It's not so bad. I mean, there's no certifying Whitman's age. It's horrible. But I hear every business, every establishment, everything is fair game. But there's two exceptions. And might those two exceptions be rooted in some sort of political pressure and maybe lawsuits? And because the L.A. County Department of Public Health, Dr. Barbara Ferrer, I know that all she's doing is just taking the science and the data and
Right.
applying it even-handedly and all of that. But wait a minute, hold on a second. Dr. Ferrer, please. Dr. Ferrer. So that's the laugh for all the businesses. But
Yeah.
if you're a pro-testing group or if you're a faith-based, church-going, worshiping person, and but there's two groups here. And obviously, sometimes, more times I'd say than not, on opposite sides of the political spectrum here in recent months. But if you're one of those groups and you've exerted sufficient political pressure, maybe a lawsuit or two in these days of closures, well, look at that. You're the exceptions from the closures. But wait a minute. There's no saying that a protesting person, a praying person, a worshiping person, or an active-minded public policy person. They're the same human species. They both breathe and exhale, and the droplets would all be the same. And in the data shown to some demographics different than others, men worse than women. But why would those two groups, if the science is so critical, if we're shutting it all down because it's just not safe, well, who in their right minds believes it's suddenly safe if your gathering is because you're protesting something, or you're praying, or you're having a card game, or you're cooking dinner, or you're getting together? The motivation has nothing to do with the scientific, physical data that says people can't gather in dense areas. And it's sort of, it takes a set of stones, as we'd say back on Staten Island, to roll that out to people with two obvious glaring exceptions. And it's outrageous.
And in West Hollywood, a lot of restaurants now have Barbara Ferrer's picture up on the window.
Well, they shouldn't have that. You know what I would do if I had a restaurant?
This is her fault. She's making this decision, and she's doing it arbitrarily.
If I had a restaurant and I wanted to bring the crowds back based on what we just heard, I know this may be a little provocative, but I say it with all due respect. I would put over my outdoor dining area a banner that says defund the police, or I might put an altar up there and say to the L.A. County Department, well, no, we worship here or we protest here. So I'm also take an order of mozzarella sticks.
What
It's
I think
ridiculous.
a lot of people are doing, and that's just it. Ruth Chris is trending. So I went, oh, well, it's my favorite. So click on that to see, make sure nobody's going out of business or anything, right?
Ugh.
This is the headline.
What do you got here? Now you got me very interested here. Tickling you with this headline. Well, associated with
Dallas
Ruth Chris.
residents.
Say Dallas residents?
Dallas residents compare their experiences at other local restaurants after people share videos of what appears to be the owner of True Kitchen asking customers not to twerk.
In this day of...
And there's people like standing up. See, this is what we miss when we can't do indoor or outdoor dining, guys. Thank you, L.A. County. Thank you, Barbara Ferrer, because we can't see people twerking inside of establishments.
I'm waiting for Garcetti to go there.
In these days of COVID restrictions where social distancing is critical, don't share your air or your pelvis movements in the public arena. I mean, so with the twerking and it's your personal behavior. Don't sneak into someone's house over the Thanksgiving weekend and go twerking in their living room or go
Never
to the
do
restaurant. By the way, we stopped you at the restaurant. You can't get in there. Remember, you twerk from the roadway. I'm a real twerk myself.
Joe Biden is hurting, I think, a little bit today. He slipped and twisted his ankle while playing with his dog Major on Saturday. His doctor said a CAT scan indicated that he has hairline fractures in the midfoot area. He'll likely require a walking boot for at least the next several weeks. Initial x-rays did not show any obvious fracture, but his clinical exam warranted more detailed imaging. This was his personal doctor, Dr. Kevin O'Connor, saying in a statement, he said, quote, following up with the CT scan confirmed hairline fractures of Biden's lateral and intermediate cuneiform bones, which are in the midfoot.
So
it's anticipated he'll be likely in a walking boot for the next several weeks. And we know
Well, here's Hail to the Chief now, folks, if we can please.
our crack production staff actually found audio of Joe Biden's fall. I don't know if you know that. Did you?
It's in
did I
Wilmington,
surprise you?
Delaware. It is in Wilmington, Delaware.
Yeah, and so, there's obviously a lot of media in and around the Biden house because they're watching him and seeing what he's up to. And so this was actually picked up. And I think one of our producers found it maybe on Reddit or one of those crazy sites.
Oh, it's a hidden microphone.
And so this is Joe Biden with the slip and fall this past weekend.
Come on.
Wow.
So bad. I mean, folks, I would, people want to proof. And I have this proof. I tweeted it out. I want you all to hear this. This is the guy that you voted for. He's going to be in a boot. And he's going to be walking around one of those big boots because he sprained it. And they're trying to give me the boot from this great house. It's so bad. Listen here. This is what you voted for this weekend.
This
and
guy.
You guys not with it. Listen to this, Joe.
Come on.
So I want to count more votes.
Do you
because
think
we
his
have
life alert? I mean, did he have to do life alert? Was
and then
Jill
he was
around?
calling with the medical alert right around, wearing it like a necklace. Beep, beep, beep.
We need a doctor, please. A doctor, please. Do we have a doctor? Doctor in the house, please.
Hey, Corn Pop.
Come on. We need a doctor, please. A doctor.
I don't know who did that, but that's fantastic. I know I've complained
Three
a lot
people
over these
doing
very
it
long
at the same time.
I mean, if that's all one piece, that is fantastic.
That was
And
not all one piece. Thank you very much.
folks, I know that the weekend is a long one, this Thanksgiving weekend. Back to it on a Monday. If you missed any news over the weekend, we have put it all together in one easy-to-consume 20-second audio vignette. All of the news from this long weekend in one sound clip. Take a listen.
All right, here we go.
Come on. We need a doctor, please. A doctor, please. Do we have a doctor? Doctor in the house, please.
From the morning answer, there it is, a full compilation of all the news that you might have missed this weekend. And back to the main desk, we go to Jennifer Horn from the Breaking News Center. Jennifer.
Thank you, Brian. Oh, gosh.
I've fallen.
There was the life alert.
We got to add it. I'm sorry, folks.
All right, let's do it all over
repetition.
again, ready?
Repetition is a solo from the top here. Do it just like you did, guys. Don't screw it up. Third time's a charm.
Oh, man, this is tough. All right, get ready. Here we go.
Come on. We need a doctor, please. A doctor, please. Do we have a doctor?
I've fallen, and I can't get up.
So bad. And I salute you. I salute all of that you do. Great people, great work. Some really great, exceptional work. So bad with Joe. So bad, Jennifer.
Now, he did tweet. President Trump did tweet about Joe Biden's accident this weekend.
I hope it's nice. After that, I would want nothing less than compassionate and
Well,
understanding.
yes, he said get well soon. He retweeted the image of Joe Biden leaving the
It's
medical
like we've
facility.
elected the Roadrunner and Wile E. Coyote here. It's so bad. Search all about me had the full-blown COVIDs, but I was able to stand in that wild look with the helicopter on the balcony after coming back from Walter Reed Medical Center.
Big league.
But this guy you voted for, he loses his balance, and it's full Wile E. Coyote. I don't want to beg the clip one more time, but please, it's so terrible.
Come on.
Ooh.
I've fallen, and I can't get up.
All right.
Like Hanna-Barbera.
He said his mind will not change in 6 months. He said that he does believe he won this election, and he does believe voter
that a
fraud is
problem?
rampant.
Is that a problem, Jen?
I don't know if it's a problem because I think if we can do better in terms of voter fraud, that's exactly what we need to do. There are a lot of unanswered questions, and I think President Trump has turned the light on to a lot of corruption, and this may be the latest thing that we're going to start paying attention to.
He can't turn the lights out. He can't turn the lights out and go to the exit. That's the light on is not the problem. Hit the lights on the way out with the last person from the Trump administration. Kindly hit the lights on the way out the door.
I've got bad news for you, Whitman. There's a very good chance that if President Trump doesn't complete 4 years, if he's not sworn in on January 20th, which there is still a chance that he could still be the next president. If not, he could run again, and he's actually alluding to that. And maybe this becomes one of his big issues. We'll have to wait and see on that. And Sir Brian Whitman, Jennifer Horn, glad to be with you. Hope you had a great Thanksgiving and maybe got some time off. And you went to Buca de Beppo, so I know
I didn't
that
go. You know, it's in this days of closures today, Monday. Huh?
You picked it up, right?
Yeah, I picked it up. Every weekend I like to, pick up, get out there on the town.
No. I'm talking about pasta.
Oh, baked ziti, yeah, of course. But I had to go to the Universal City location of Buca de Beppo because in this unprecedented time, every Thanksgiving, I'd go and, Jennifer, how's this? I would actually sit in the restaurant, and I'd bring people with me, and we were sharing our air, which is what made
Not just your air. You were sharing entrees. You were touching the same utensils.
Sharing mozzarella triangles, sharing all sorts of.
How times have changed.
Chicken limon. And this year they said, no, you cannot come here. I said, well, I'll get on down there. Ubered over, picked up the buca, and it was a different time, a different Thanksgiving. But I didn't share my air with anyone, which I thought about.
You went by yourself?
Well, to pick it up, I went by myself, and then, of course,
you ate it by yourself?
No, I had 8,200 people at my apartment. I thought in this time I was so gonna.
I told you should have come over.
Looked like the Astrodome in my apartment. I just had so many people from so many independent, different.
Did you
families.
eat with anybody or no? By yourself?
No, I ate alone.
Whitman. I told you should have come over for Thanksgiving. What is your problem?
I thought about it a lot. Can I tell you, I thought about it on Thursday morning, on the morning of Thanksgiving, and I truly did think about it. And I thought to myself,
hard pass.
No, it wasn't that fast, but I did think to myself, well, when I go there to Jen's house.
You were totally invited, and I even gave you the pass. What did I tell you when I left you on Wednesday? I said, you can come over. Don't worry. You don't even have to stay all day. Just come for an hour, eat, say hi.
I thought about that. I thought I didn't have an hour.
I gave you a pass. I
know you did.
Gave you the pass that you didn't have to, sit there the whole day, because I know
But it's getting to a point where I'm forecasting my own awkward behavior in a COVID-compliant world. I didn't want to be too close to anyone in a holiday that has been so vilified.
Oh, please.
How did you feel doing it? Really? Was your conversation at your Thanksgiving
totally
intimate?
Normal.
It couldn't have been normal.
It was. It was totally normal. I mean, the only thing missing, my mom was missing because she's taking care of my grandmother.
Right.
But yeah.
But that's for a different reason.
Right. It was very normal. It was very normal.
See, if you'd sold it to me that way, said, Brian, it'd be very normal. You'll be the most abnormal thing there. I might have done that.
And that is true in all my life. At Jeopardy released on Thursday a Thanksgiving message from Alex Trebek, who passed away just a few weeks ago. And this message was recorded just a few weeks before he passed. It's just a 20-second clip, but it shows his heart, and it's a great reminder of hope, even in a season where sometimes loss feels a little bit harder. Take a listen.
Happy Thanksgiving, ladies and gentlemen. You know, in spite of what America and the rest of the world is experiencing right now, there are many reasons to be thankful. There are more and more people extending helpful hands to do a kindness to their neighbors, and that's a good thing. Keep the faith. We're going to get through all of this, and we will be a better society because of it.
It's Alex Trebek in a recorded statement that the folks at Jeopardy who produced that wonderful show and had that constant, consistent, professional, wonderful and authentic, brilliant host, Alex Trebek, who became significant in our lives because he's always been there. And he recorded that. I want to say that he's there. He's suffering with cancer there, pancreatic cancer.
Stage 4 pancreatic cancer, yeah.
And he is speaking of folks who are suffering as well from a different health condition, a different situation. And I'm reminded, I hear Alex Trebek, And I hear his voice breaking through cancer. I mean, you hear his voice a strain there.
Yeah, it's not his normal sound for sure.
Right, but his effort is he succeeds. He speaks through it, and a wonderful message for us, folks. In folks who are mindful of all of us are mindful of have people in our lives who suffer from all sorts of different illnesses, different categories of illness. Right, COVID-19 is one, and it's most of the attention certainly in our daily lives is about this particular virus. And there's a reason for that, and I understand that, and I appreciate that. There are folks suffering with cancer, of course. I noticed, Jennifer, the AIDS Healthcare Foundation started a public effort several months ago, or it's about a month and a half ago, to remind folks, and they're using this phrase at HIV/AIDS, they're calling it the other pandemic, and saying that they have lost significant funding in terms of people who every year give to the effort to treat and potentially cure HIV/AIDS, and they're seeing a decrease in their funds that are coming in from generous people in this year going and being diverted. And I know that this feels like, well, you have to pick one or the other.
Yeah.
And folks,
or some people may just not have it because they don't have a job right now.
That's exactly right. So there are all sorts of efforts in all sorts of coming from complete and total goodness to get funds and research and get dollars, and a lot of folks dealing with other conditions, advocacy groups for cancer, HIV/AIDS, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, and the folks at AIDS Healthcare Foundation saying out loud, "Don't forget us," is really what they were saying.
Yeah, a lot of charities, I think, feeling that same way, that same strain. And, one of the things that's interesting to note about Alex Trebek is that when production halted on Jeopardy, he was one of the loudest voices saying, we have to get back to some normalcy. We have to get back to the set, and we have to be able to do this safely. He was one of those people who was pushing for this. And I think it really puts in perspective some of these shutdown orders. It's where I've been coming from, and I think it's because, and I'll try to do this without sounding too gushy, but when you have someone, I have a family member, my grandmother is dealing with the end of life. She's got cancer that has spread to her brain, and this has been something tough for my family, but we don't have a lot of days to waste. And when you have someone like Alex Trebek who said, why would we shut down something that brings so many people joy? Why would we shut down the entire world when you're missing important time with your family that you're not going to get back? I think we need to live by his example. We need to know that we can be safe, that we can operate, but that we can still enjoy every single minute, because life is so short. And that's what I think our government officials are not hearing. They're not processing that when they tell us, oh, no big deal, just stay out of restaurants, stay out of stores, stay away from your family, don't travel. Well, what if this is your last chance? You got to get on it. You can't just sit around and wait.
Alex Trebek at Sony Studios was, as you say, the loudest voice, saying essentially the show must go on.
Right.
We must
Bring
do the
people
show.
Some pleasure, some comfort, some normalcy.
And I think that feeling was in most lives this weekend, whether
100%.
we chose to do a traditional celebration or a observance of Thanksgiving, or we were by ourselves like I was, because you didn't want to be in a group because everyone was saying, and we understand that it's maybe not the best idea, but maybe from another perspective, it's what folks feel as if the community, whether it's virtual or whether it's...
It has to be a balance. I mean, I get that. And, I know that people are weighing options in their mind about...
And everyone made a choice, right?
Right.
On
People
Thursday.
are making choices. Exactly. But you have to... The government... It's not the government's job to weigh that option for you. It's your job to be able to say, okay, I'm a smart adult. I understand the risks that come along, because no one's ever saying that COVID's not something to worry about. Of course it is. But it's not the only thing that's going on in people's lives. And so you may have to weigh a decision and make a tough choice, because you don't want to waste time. And that's not Dr. Barbara Ferrer's job to do that for us. That's our job to make those decisions.
And when you and I were dealing with months back, when we were dealing with coronavirus here on our broadcast, on our team, with our best friends, there was, there was physical symptoms, and there is out there. I mean, you can quantify it. That business closed. For lack of a better term, those are things we can count. They are physical. They are real. They're in reality out there. Now, equally as real, of course, is our thoughts and what's happening inside of us, whether or not we are testing positive for COVID-19 or not, whether or not we have symptoms, whether or not, word from my year, asymptomatic. And I can tell you, as I said to you many months ago, that believe it or not, if the physical symptoms, if the body physically is feeling it or not, because of infection, the mind is feeling it. The anxiety is high, and that of course does affect one's body. That does affect one's physicality. So the wellness. Wellness matters, and whether or not you're testing positive for COVID-19, take a moment here to understand that wellness has been impacted here far beyond the numbers of folks who are case testing positive.
Right. And I think the news media only makes it worse because it's all you're hearing. And so no wonder people are afraid and having all of these issues like depression and all these things that are popping up. And it's sad we're talking about it during the holiday, but it's a very real thing that's going on for a lot of people. So I have to ask you this question. We have 30 seconds.
Sure. Here we go.
Merriam-Webster.
Yes.
Announced the word of the year. Any guesses?
Sanitizer.
Close. The answer? Pandemic. Of course.
Okay, that would be it.
Of course it is. Pandemic rose in popularity. We've said it probably more than we've said it any other year of our life. And Merriam-Webster adding that as the word of the year for 2020. Thanks so much for joining us today. Make it a great Monday. It's 9 o'clock.